Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In this video, it's March 15th, day 2 of NFL free agency. Not as big of a day as it was yesterday, but there's going to be a ton of fantasy football news that we care about. And in this video, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through basically Adam Schefter's and Ian Rappaport's tweets. We'll look at Spot Track and look at all the contracts as well. But basically, I just want to look and see who the main QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end signings were that we're going to need to know for fantasy. But I also think it's interesting because we should know, the major offensive line movements going on. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and hop into a screen share. And if you're watching on Twitter or if you're watching on Facebook, come on and subscribe over to our YouTube channel. That helps us grow and get more people to watch our stuff. So here we are. We're looking at basically. So I recorded the video yesterday. I left off, and as soon as I signed off, CJ Uzomah signs with the New York Jets. So 3-year deal, $24 million for him. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work backwards, starting with kind of last night, and we're going to just kind of zoom through the day. So for the major part here, tight end CJ Uzomah, Jets signing a really good player here. I think he was an 8-year pro with the Bengals, now going with the New York Jets. I like the offense for him. Again, you think about the San Francisco kind of style offense there. They use the tight end a lot. They just didn't have one last year. So Uzomah could be an interesting guy there with Zach Wilson. We'll keep it moving. I'm just going to kind of read these through, and if we need to talk about them, we'll talk about them. The Giants' former defensive tackle Austin Johnson signs with the Chargers, another good defensive ad for the Chargers, who were busy yesterday on that side of the ball. The former Colts offensive lineman Mark Glowinski signs with the New York Giants, a 3-year, $20 million deal, $11.4 million guaranteed. So good move there for the Giants offensive line. Let's see here. Xavier Rhodes, former Cowboys safety, signing a 3-year, $15.75 million deal with the Carolina Panthers. So good deal there. Again, there's the Panthers news here. Of course, Tom Brady signing the other day here on that Sunday. The Eagles are not tendering two-time leading tackler Alex Singleton. Per source, Singleton will now be a free agent when the market opens. So technically the market opens tomorrow. If you're watching this on, Tuesday the 15th in the evening, or if you're watching this on Wednesday, that just kind of helps sets the timing for this. Here we go. The Panthers are closing in on a deal with guard Austin Corbett. Corbett thrived with Super Bowl winning Rams. Now feels a big need for Carolina. So good news, Carolina. They just signed a safety here in Xavier Woods, and now they're padding their offensive line here. This one I thought was interesting. You have Zay Jones headed to the Jaguars. So 3 years, $30 million. That's a pretty good base contract for him too, with the $24 million. I like the Jags signings here. They have Zay Jones on the outside, Marvin Jones on the other outside, and Christian Kirk in the middle. So they kind of have a nice 3 wide receiver set. I think it's likely that we're going to see Laviska Shenault moved. Whether he is, added for some draft capital or for a player, we'll see what happens here. But it feels like Shenault might be the odd man out here. They still have Jamal Agnew, who they like too, in the slot. So we'll see. Schefter says the 2 teams that have expressed interest, the most interest in Browns wide receiver Jarvis Landry, Kansas City and New Orleans. So yesterday it was rumbling that it was Kansas City and Buffalo, but it looks like New Orleans might have a lead here. We'll talk more about Deshaun Watson in a little bit when it gets to that. Former Rams defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day signing with the Chargers. So the Chargers continuing to add defensive tackles here. Just another good piece for the Chargers defense. Bills defensive tackle Harrison Phillips signing with the Vikings. Carolina Panther Daquan Jones signing with the Buffalo Bills. There's some Rams. The Rams have had some nice drafts. They haven't had a lot of first-round picks, but they've made some good moves. Shout out to Justin, Watson, A-Rob, and Fuller. What's going on with that? What's going on with Watson, A-Rob, and they're still up? I think they're still up for grabs yet. I haven't seen anything come in lately. But yeah, the Jets get Jordan Whitehead. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of rewinding the day. So this is kind of from last night. We're just going through the tweets, and we'll work our way up to the most recent here. So I'm just kind of reading through. Harrison Phillips, $8.5 million in year 1, $13 million guaranteed. And yeah, the Von Miller Cowboy buzz. The whole Randy Gregory thing is weird today too. It said he signed with the Cowboys, and then he actually went to Denver. So we'll get to some of that in a second here. Just cleaning up last night's late signings here. So the Steelers placed a restricted free agent tender on Marcus Allen. The Broncos agreeing to terms with defensive tackle DJ Jones on a 3-year, $30 million deal, $20 million guaranteed. Let's see. Justin, this is interesting. So the former Texan safety Justin Reed intends to sign a 3-year deal, 31.5 with the Chiefs, which likely means the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, maybe not going to be coming back here. So that's really interesting. Casey never offered Tyrann Mathieu a deal. Chiefs' plan was to go in a different direction. They were willing to let him walk. So interesting. Tyrann Mathieu might be signing somewhere soon. Pro Bowl defensive end Frank Clark has reworked his contract to stay in Kansas City. New deal, 2 years, $29 million base, upside of 36. Let's keep it moving here. The Vikings releasing Michael Pierce. Nick Folk re-signed by the Patriots here. A couple other kicker deals we'll get to in a bit. I thought this was interesting too. Tyler Lockett working out with Colin Kaepernick, something to monitor there. Apparently Colin Kaepernick is in good shape. Former Chiefs cornerback Charvarius Ward intends to sign a 3-year deal worth up to $42 million with the 49ers. So good secondary piece there for the 49ers. Let's see there. Yeah, a lot of that was a pretty big deal. For a 3-year, $42 million deal, basically, for Charvarius Ward. Trubisky again with the Steelers. Let me keep it moving. Brandon Scherf, again, this was kind of yesterday, getting a deal with the Jags. Big deal with the Jags, 3-year, $52.5 million. So huge deal for the Jags offense there. And then basically we're going to start here with the morning news. The Jags, DJ Chark intends to sign a 1-year deal with the Detroit Lions. I believe it's a 10-year, $10 million deal worth up to $12 million with incentives. So DJ Chark, Detroit Lion, interesting. What's going on, Christian? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. The Tyrod Taylor signing that just didn't make sense to me, wanting to dump Saquon $7 million just to pay someone who's going to be on the bench. You know what? That it might be Daniel Jones insurance, man. Like it's been not very good luck for Daniel Jones. He really hasn't played a full season, I think, in the last couple of years. So this might be, maybe it's a competition. Maybe Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback at the beginning. Maybe they move Daniel Jones. I think if anything, it just lights a fire under Daniel Jones to be like, hey, this is your prove it year, and we have someone that is competent. So, but what we're doing right now is I'm just kind of scrolling. I'm starting with the morning. So DJ Chark, that was kind of the first news dump from this morning, and we'll get our way to Tyrod Taylor, who just signed not too long ago. So yeah, DJ Chark signing with the Detroit Lions for 1 year, $10 million. That's going to be interesting. He's going to be an outside receiver with Josh Reynolds, and then you'll have Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson. I kind of like that offense there for Detroit, at least. And then the major news this morning was Aaron Rodgers signing his deal. It's a messy deal. A lot of people were speculating, how it's broken down, but it's $150.6 million guaranteed, and the way it's broken down is kind of weird. It's $28.5 million this year for cap numbers, down from 46. So essentially, he saved the Packers $18 million to go free up and do some deals. So very interesting indeed. But it's likely a $3 million. It's like a 3-year deal, I think, for the Packers and Rodgers, and everything after that is up for grabs. But we'll keep it moving. Jones always gets in slums. Yep. And I like the deal for Chark. It's a spot where, if we expect Detroit to draft a quarterback, maybe he wants to come back to Detroit. I think the tides are turning in Detroit. I think if you're a Lions fan, you got a little bit to be excited about. One, they showed some fight last year, and now they're attracting some players to come play with them. So I think it could be a fun upcoming season for the Lions, and we'll see if he can make a big contract in the next free agency. Let's see here. Johnny Hecker, one of the best punters in the league, getting released here from the Rams. I think that's very, very interesting. Let's keep it moving, though. The Jags also releasing one of the best linebackers here, Miles Jack. He led the tackles. He led the Jags in tackles last season with 108. He's going to be able to sign wherever he wants now. Safety Malik Hooker staying in Dallas, 2-year, $8 million deal. Janoris Jenkins being released by Tennessee. There's Malik Hooker again. And then here we go. So this is when the weirdness kind of started. Ian Rappaport reported the Cowboys are expected to sign their own pass rusher, Randy Gregory, to a deal around $13 million per year. Source said the deal isn't done yet, but it is headed that way. And then Adam Schefter says the Cowboys are re-signing Gregory, 5-year, $70 million deal that includes $20 million guaranteed. And then they're congratulating the deal, saying great deal. And then it falls through in a little bit. We'll get to that in a second here, but there was a trade in the middle of the day, a couple trades today. The Patriots are sending Chase Winovich to the Browns for Mack Wilson, just changing out some linebackers there. I think they're in the same draft class too. The Packers, good news for my Packers, bringing back Alan Lazard on a really, really cheap deal. This is a second-round tender. It's only $4 million. He probably could have gotten $8 to $10 million, probably the Zay Jones money, basically 3 years, $24 million deal. But the Packers get him for $4 million this year. Montravius Adams staying with the Steelers on a 2-year, $5 million deal. We'll get to the Falcons, but man, Falcons tender Olamide Zaccheaus at the right of first refusal, number of $2.433 million. Not sure what that deal means. If someone can enlighten me on that, but right now, Olamide Zaccheaus is the best receiver on the Falcons roster as we speak here. Former Cowboys offensive line Connor Williams is signing a 2-year, $14 million deal that includes $7.5 million full and guaranteed with the Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins are having themselves a really nice free agency class. I like what they've done so far, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Backup quarterback, a new running back, new wide receiver, getting some offensive linemen. They did franchise tag Gesicki. I like what the Dolphins are doing right now, looking like a pretty good team this offseason. Interesting. The Cleveland Browns releasing one of the best centers in the game, J.C. Tretter, also president of the NFLPA. I thought that was very interesting. Kind of seems like a cap move. Yesterday releasing Jarvis Landry, today releasing one of the best centers. Kind of interesting. Maybe freeing up some money for Deshaun Watson. We'll see. The Lions signed pass rusher Charles Harris, 2-year deal worth up to $14 million. Good move there for the Lions. And here's an interesting note. So the Falcons have emerged as a sleeper team to acquire Texans QB Deshaun Watson. So the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Browns, the entire NFC South besides Tampa Bay. That's really interesting. And part of me just wonders, like, what are the Falcons going to do with Deshaun Watson? I know Watson's got some ties to Atlanta. That's kind of like a soft spot for him where I think he wants to play there. Money-wise, though, to move Matt Ryan's deal, that's going to be difficult. I think this might be just the Falcons like, hey, if you're going to go to the Panthers or the Saints, let's see what we can get. Try and raise the price for Deshaun Watson. So interesting. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, and Browns all in on the Watson sweepstakes, which it seems like maybe by the end of the week we're going to know where Deshaun Watson's going. So that's kind of cool. The Steelers signing offensive line James Daniels, 3-year, $26.5 million deal. Good move, bolstering that offensive line. Let's see here. There's more. Here's some, Arthur Blank is fond of Deshaun Watson type tweets. JC Tretter thanking Cleveland. Andrew Whitworth retired today. Very interesting. So the Rams offensive line took a hit today. They lost I can't remember the offensive line that they lost, but they lost one starter, and then now they're losing Andrew Whitworth. So a little bit of a ding here as the offensive line is moving on. Defensive tackle Malik Collins signing back with the Texans on a 2-year, $17 million deal. Feels like the Texans have been active. Texans have been very active this free agency. And yeah, Deshaun Watson, maybe a Falcon. I don't know. The Falcons have no weapons besides Kyle Pitts right now. I don't think if I'm Deshaun Watson, I don't know if I want to play there. I think the Browns is fun. The Saints probably the best spot for him though, if we're being real. And then here we go. Vic Lombardi coming out and saying sources, Randy Gregory signing with the Broncos. So this was just maybe an hour or two after they announced the signing. So agent Peter Schaefer has been quoted by Kelvin Watkins confirming the deal was done with the Cowboys. No doubt what Jerry has done for him the last 7 years played a huge part. And then there we go. It's official. Pulling a U-turn, agreeing to terms with the Broncos. So I'm not sure what happened here, but it says the Cowboys deal fell apart. So Broncos having a nice defensive free agency here. And of course, starting off with a bang with Russell Wilson. So the Broncos making some noise on both sides of the ball. Love to see that. But we'll keep it moving here. Chase Daniel going to the Chargers on a 1-year deal just to back up Herbert. Safety Marcus Williams. This is a big one. Marcus Williams, safety, is agreeing to terms with the Baltimore Ravens on a 5-year deal worth up to $70 million. Per source. Big market shifting deal in the AFC North. So that's a very huge deal. That's what, almost $13-14 million a year for safety Marcus Williams. For fantasy, this one's intriguing. J.D. McKissic intends to sign a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Buffalo Bills, upside of $8 million. This is a really good move. Antonio Gibson is free in Washington. All he has behind him is Jarrett Patterson now. He's going to be the main passing down back there. And we saw that when J.D. McKissic got hurt last year with that concussion in the neck thing, Antonio Gibson blossomed. He was a top 5, top 10 running back down the stretch. And now things are going to really open up for our guy, Antonio Gibson. And then J.D. McKissic, putting him in Buffalo is very interesting because we were starting to like Devin Singletary. We still have Zach Moss there. It's kind of just this backfield, it's a logjam at the backfield position there. So kind of hurts for fantasy. It basically says nobody's a value in Buffalo for running backs, but maybe in best ball leagues, take a flyer on JD, take a flyer on Devin Singletary, but wheels up for Antonio Gibson. Keeping it moving. There's more Marcus Williams, linebacker Elandon Roberts with the Dolphins here, 1 year, 3.25. Patriots getting James White back. James White's still relatively young. He can still play. Good running back there for Mac Jones. So I'd like that move. I can't remember what the numbers are. I think we'll get to that in a second. Eagles tendering offensive guard Nate Herbig. But here we go. Falcons Russell Gage expected to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tampa Bay is going to be rolling out Godwin, Mike Evans, and now Russell Gage. Of course, the number 3 spot left open by Antonio Brown. But yeah, it was Russell Gage came on strong at the end of the year. So I'm excited about Tampa Bay adding another player here that makes Tom Brady another appealing quarterback this year. Defensive back Bobby McCain signing with the Commanders on a 2-year, $11 million deal. Rosenhaus, very, very, very busy day for Drew Rosenhaus. Let me see what else we got here. The Jets getting cornerback DJ Reed. So the Jets had a very, very interesting day getting DJ Reed today. Let's see what else we got going on here. More Russell Gage, Randy Gregory. Satan's converting more money. So converting over $8 million in Marcus Davenport's $9.55 million base salary into a signing bonus to create an extra $6.8 million in cap. So the Saints have been doing this with their stars. Alvin Kamara did it. I think Michael Thomas did it. A couple other guys did it. Freeing up money. They're trying to make a push at Deshaun Watson, or at least, free up some money to make some other moves here. So more moving going on for the Saints. The Jets here getting the former Bucs safety Jordan Whitehead, good veteran safety here, proven starter, locking down the secondary there for the New York Jets. Looks like a 2-year, $14.5 million deal. Very good contract there. The Texans bring back their tight end Farrell Brown. Not much there. Another trade today. Tampa Bay, they lost Alex Kappa in free agency, bringing in Shaq Mason here with a trade. Very good move for the Tampa Bay offensive line. Let me see what else we got here. Ed Werder, source says the salary forfeiture language Cowboys include in player contracts that led Randy Gregory to abruptly sign with the Broncos is standard to them, but not commonly used by other teams. Cowboys now have high interest in Von Miller, depending on financial expectations. So Cowboys had some money for Gregory. That's got to go somewhere. So maybe Von Miller headed to town here. Defensive back Desmond King signing with the Texans, 2-year, $7 million deal. Good return man. Not really sure if he's a standout on defensive much anymore. The Vikings bringing in Jordan Hicks, good linebacker. Added there. Let me see what else we got here. Here's a list of the comp picks. It looks like a handful of 3rd-round picks for a few select teams up here. And then it looks like a lot of 6s and a lot of 7s, not too many 5s, but a lot of 3s and 4s. A lot of comp picks here added to the end of the rounds there. So check that out if you guys want. Let me see. And then here we go. We talk, I guess Christian was talking about this earlier. The Giants are expected to sign Tyrod Taylor, a high-level backup behind Daniel Jones. So it's a 2-year, $17 million deal, including $8.5 million with the New York Giants. So it is frustrating wanting to dump Saquon $7 million just to pay someone who's going to be on the bench week 1. So yes, it is frustrating to pay. Essentially, he's a co-starter. For this money, he is a co-starter with Daniel Jones. Basically, this says quarterback competition's on. Daniel Jones, man, you have one more year to prove it. If you don't want to be a starter in the NFL, they have Tyrod Taylor. So that's kind of what this is. It's insurance. It gets them to another year. It also ensures that they don't have to take a quarterback in the draft this year. That, to me, that kind of says that, hey, they don't really see a quarterback worth a 1st-round pick in the draft this year. Let's actually pull up the draft order too. Take a look at this. The Giants picking 5, 7, and 36. So they're loaded at the draft position. And then basically this says to me that they don't see a quarterback in the draft this year. They can, worry about that next year. They can go into the following season with Tyrod Taylor and drafting a rookie quarterback if they need to. So it kind of makes sense. The money-wise isn't that great, but it kind of makes sense from a long-term philosophy. What are the Packers going to do with their receiver situation? So I believe the next thing that they have to do, okay, so I'm assuming Devontae Adams is going to get something figured out later. Lazard's back for sure. It sounds like Randall Cobb needs to restructure his money, his deal. So you have those guys at the top with Amari Rodgers. It's likely that Green Bay takes a wide receiver here at 28. Again, you have Rodgers signed up for the next 3 seasons. Let him pick a receiver here at number 28 to be like, that's my guy. The next 3 seasons, I want to grow with this kid. So I kind of like the idea of taking a wide receiver here, maybe at 59. I just don't know what kind of caliber receiver you're going to get here. Versus at 28, you're gonna get maybe a Chris Olave to fall to you, maybe a Drake London. I don't know. You're gonna get a really good wideout receiver here. Otherwise, there's a handful of wide receivers left open on the market that I really like. MVS is getting a ton of attention right now. I think from 4 or 5 different teams. Let me actually look at that because I was looking at that last night, and Marquez Valdez was getting attention from teams like Indianapolis. Technically, Atlanta needs some wide receivers right now. Here's the top available. This was from 10 hours ago. So Juju, Allen Robinson, Odell, Will Fuller, Landry Crowder, AJ Green, and MVS. And yeah, that's a big deal. Atlanta's going to be probably paying up some money here. So here's Mark Daniels saying the Patriots showing some interest in MVS. I did see the Bears are in on Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I saw a couple other teams. I think the Colts were on the list too. So MVS, unfortunately, is probably going to get – consider this. Zay Jones got a 3-year deal, $24 million, so that's roughly $8 million. Marquez Valdez is probably going to get in that $8 to $10 million range. So I'm assuming he's gone. If he wants to come back to the pack, he needs to take probably a smaller deal, but I could see Rodgers pushing for that. So very interesting here. I think with MVS gone, the Packers could potentially be looking at some free agents. Like I like Keelan Cole. I like even Sammy Watkins maybe. I'm thinking of guys like one of my favorites for Green Bay to add is maybe James Washington. I think that could be a really nice signing. Laquan Treadwell is still 26. He played well for the Jags at the end of the season. I think he could be interesting. I do like Traquan Smith as well. A lot of these cheap receivers available. So I'm assuming MVS probably going to go sign some money somewhere, but a guy like James Washington, could be interesting to the Packers. A lot of fun, though. A lot of fun today. And tomorrow's the day where, when everything becomes official, we'll get all those real numbers in there. But yeah, Tyrod Taylor was the last one. The Panthers signing running back Deonta Foreman just now, though. That's pretty cool. 20 minutes ago. So we're all caught up. We're all caught up here. And I'm going to drop the link in here for Spot Track. I think I put it in. I thought I put it in the description. So if you guys want to use that link, Spot Track, one of the best contract viewers here, and you just filter by offense and get all that stuff here. So a lot of moving parts going on, but that's going to do it for tonight's show. I'll probably do another live show tomorrow night, capping if there's anything new. We'll do a live basketball show later tonight, so I'm going to take a break. But that's going to do it. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video. If you're still watching on Twitter or Facebook or anything, come give us a subscription on YouTube. That helps us grow. And have a good night. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.